to 100% off the chain.
Text me whenever, yo.
I love you, Dad.
Communicizer is not available in stores because it doesn't exist. But that's okay. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Because kids in foster care don't need perfection. They need you. For more information on how you can adopt, go to adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt Us Kids, and the Ad Council.
I make learning a privilege, not a chore. And frustration, a tool, not an obstacle. I'm a teacher. I make more.
Make more. Teach. Visit teach.org. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Back to the Lars Larson Show. Pleasure to be with you on a Monday. And with me on the phone is Todd Gaziano, who's Executive Director of the Pacific Legal Foundation's D.C. Center and a Senior Fellow in Constitutional Law. Todd, good to have you back on the program.
Thanks so much for having me back.
I know that there are lefties out there who just say, will you right-wingers just stop fighting Obamacare? But the fact is, you make a very good case that Obamacare, the way it's being put upon Americans as an obligation, that you must buy insurance, that if you don't buy insurance, that the government will punish you with a tax, it's still unconstitutional, and we shouldn't stop fighting against things that are unconstitutional. Would you mind explaining the case that you've made with this petition to the U.S. Supreme Court?
Sure. First of all complex laws are constantly litigated. Medicare and Medicaid, which had great agreement 50 years ago, or at least a lot of agreement, have been litigated in the Supreme Court for 50 years. But Obamacare is even much more complex, much more sloppily drafted. So I don't know why the administration wants to try to convince us that, whoever lost the first round, the case is over. But our challenge that we filed today for the Pacific Legal Foundation and our client, Matt Sissel, raises a point that no one else has yet, which is that the individual mandate tax, which the Supreme Court first declared a tax in 2012, is unconstitutional because it originated in the Senate. And no case I shouldn't say exactly like this, no case even remotely like this has ever been before the Supreme Court before. So they've not decided this case, and there's no reason why any of the previous cases should control that issue.
Well, and in fact, let's make the point that since it was passed as a revenue bill, or was it, that people were going to have to pay this tax if they didn't pay, the Obama administration put this forward and said, no, it has to be a tax because we're using and correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, we're using Congress's power to levy the tax. But the tax isn't really a tax. It's a way of pushing people to make them sign up for the insurance. So their motivation was one thing, but to be able to do it, they had to use Congress's taxing power. But to do that, they had to have a bill that started in the House of Representatives, right?
Well, you're right in trying to describe the administration's doublespeak, but to try is kind of difficult. So let me try to break that down. They tried originally to say Congress was using its commerce power, but a majority of the Supreme Court struck that down.
Right.
They also kind of threw in that the individual mandate penalty was a tax, and John Roberts and 4 other justices bought that one. But the Supreme Court did not consider, if it was a tax, that it was constitutionally passed. They specifically did not address that issue. And all of the taxes, 17 historically large taxes, originated in the Senate. They gutted a House bill that mostly was providing tax credit for military home buyers and doing some other interest rate changes. And there's a couple of constitutional flaws with that, as our cases for Matt Sissel has explained. But then the Court of Appeals was the one that tried to somehow revert back to the old theory that although it raised revenue and the Supreme Court found it was representing, having 2 representatives per early states had. In some states, but the Senate 1910s, the Supreme Court said never has to be. But this is the absolute extreme example. It was a taxes. They gutted that 6-page bill, and they substituted a 2007 large taxes. If there is any limit to the germaneness requirement,
News Radio 1120 KPNW.
The history of the BMW 3 Series isn't written in books. It's written on roads across America. For 40 years, the original sports sedan has outdriven the competition with features like near-perfect 50-50 weight distribution and a twin-power turbo engine. Head to your local BMW center to test drive the BMW 3 Series and experience its legendary performance today. BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
Visit BMW of Eugene at 2100 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. Also online at bmwofeugene.com.
Built for business. When you run a small business, your day doesn't end at 5. It ends when the job is done. Manage inventory, process orders, pay bills, check your website. Every day, the to-do list gets longer and longer. Comcast Business understands that. That's why they offer the no-glitch switch. It's the quick, easy way to improve your business's internet. Installation takes about an hour, and if they're not on time, you get a $20 credit. They offer appointments at night or on weekends, so it won't interfere with your business. And if you're not 100% satisfied, you have 30 days to get your money back. You don't have to put up with slow downloads or emails that won't send. Just remember the no-glitch switch from Comcast Business and cross Switch to Better Internet off your to-do list. Make the no-glitch switch. Call 800-501-6000 or visit ComcastBusiness.com. Comcast Business. Built for business.
Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. 1 hour install applies to standard installation of one outlet. Money-back guarantee does not apply to Ethernet or hospitality services.
I'm Dr. Nathalie Johnson, and Coleman, Oregon and Southwest Washington is a personal cause for me. 71 people will be diagnosed with breast cancer every week in our region. Join me and make a difference today. Donate at ColemanOregon.org.
Sponsored by Coleman, Oregon, and aired by the Oregon Association of Broadcasters.
Get your Plenty card at Exxon or Mobil and start earning points at lots of places.
So I get points for filling up at Exxon?
You sure do.
What about getting coffee at Mobil?
Points.
Streaming TV shows on Hulu?
Definitely.
Points on my AT&T wireless bill?
Yep.
Buying soap?
At Rite Aid.
Buying you a birthday present?
Points at Macy's.
Visiting your parents?
No. You get marriage points.
Oh.
Exxon and Mobil are the only fuel brands that are part of Plenty, the rewards program that lets you earn points at one place and use them at another. Join Plenty for free through a participating Exxon or Mobil station today. Terms and limitations apply. See plenty.com/partners for details.
I have to get to sleep.
Tom had a stressful day, and now he can't shut down at bedtime.
Need sleep.
To fall asleep fast, millions of people turn to Unisom sleep gels. They're non-habit forming and quickly help you sleep soundly so you wake recharged. Tom? Unisom sleep gels. A stressful day deserves a restful night. Use as directed. Active ingredient diphenhydramine hydrochloride.
Hey, Mom, what is that in the living room?
Oh, you mean my pole?
Your pole?
Yep. Honey, your mother has embraced the art of the exotic dance.
Oh, boy.
What was that website where you found your new job? You know, the one you love so much?
EugeneHelpWanted.com?
That's it. You said it's the best place to find great local employment.
Yeah, they have thousands of local jobs.
Well, I am ready to start gigging.
Gigging?
I need something nearby. I don't like to drive too far at night.
Okay, Mom.
I can use my phone to find it, right?
Of course.
Oh, there it is. That was fast.
Mom, here's the thing about EugeneHelpWanted.com.
What?
Well, you can upload your resume for free in just minutes, and really, it's a place for serious job seekers.
Well, I am serious, and I am very, very good at this. Here, let me show you.
Oh, please, Mom, no. No, Mom. Okay, what does Dad think about all this?
Oh, he's my Axeman.
Oh, Dad's the Axeman.
Albert, we're getting a gig.
EugeneHelpWanted.com. Long name, amazing results.
Woohoo!
Need a hot tub? Go to OregonEdeals.com and save big. Need your transmission flushed? Go to OregonEdeals.com and save big. Need pizza? Go to OregonEdeals.com and save big. You hearing a theme here? Check out today's discounts at OregonEdeals.com.
Hello, I'm Ann Geddes. Every 2 seconds, somewhere in the world, a baby is born too soon. Did you know that premature birth is the leading cause of newborn deaths, not just in the US, but around the world? With each week these precious babies stay and thrive in the womb, the risk of disabilities is significantly reduced. It's not too late to make a difference. Premature birth can be prevented, and new lives can be saved. The March of Dimes has created a network of prematurity research centres developing new treatments that will assist in making a difference. The March of Dimes continues to work with parents, the medical community and governments to bring improved prenatal care to mothers and their babies. Give every newborn the chance to be born healthy. Join with me and the March of Dimes. Take the first step. Visit marchofdimes.org.
News Radio 1120 KPNW.
They call him Comrade One because it's cool. A contributing writer for Fox News, The Wall Street Journal, The New York Post, The New York Times, and a hardcore Democrat. He is Juan Williams on The Lars Larson Show.
That's right. He is Juan Williams, and boy, I can tell that he's always reliably on the left. Juan, welcome back to the program.
What a pleasure. What a pleasure. You know, I like that introduction, Lars.
Do you? You like that?
Great. Yeah, because I feel like, you know, it's going to bring out the best in you because now you're going to really have to show me up. So let's go.
All right. Well, were you out hanging out in New York this weekend with your buddy Quentin Tarantino calling all the cops murderers?
No, gosh, I didn't even hear about this. Tell me.
Oh, boy, I got to tell you, Quentin Tarantino showed up 4 days after a cop was murdered in cold blood so they could hold one of these protests where he literally said the cops are murderers. and that he has to call the murderers because they are. I think that is the biggest bunch of hogwash. Do you realize the damage that folks like him do to your side of the aisle by fronting that kind of opinion?
Well, I, first of all, would not consider him part of my side of the aisle. I think he's an extremist and a little bit crazy based on what you just told me. I think you have lots of people like that who you, on the Republican side, if that's your divide, who you wouldn't want to be associated with either. So, but let me just say, you know, the damage is in this regard, Lars. There's a real issue, especially in poor black communities, which are, as you know, beset by dysfunction, family breakdown, incredible rates of violent crime.
Yeah.
And you know that oftentimes the cops are afraid. Most residents, most of the people in there are not the criminals, by the way.
That's right.
And they're afraid because the cops come in and the cops are quick because of their fear to use excessive force. And so there's this issue. There's a real issue there. But people like Tarantino come in, I don't know what he's doing there. I think he's hurting people who have a legitimate grievance and are trying to, you know, find some solution.
See, you and I agree on that. I just thought it was crazy that he was saying that because you know that in the vast majority of cases where the cops shoot somebody, the person needs shooting. You know,
I don't know about that. I don't know why you would say that.
Well, I would say that because most of them are threatening somebody with a weapon, threatening the cop, or threatening other people. And in a very tiny number of cases, the cops shoot somebody for no good reason. There was a guy in South Carolina, a cop who did that. He's sitting on murder charges now. So you know, there's justice. But in most cases, if you go out and threaten people with a weapon, the cops are going to come, and if they have to, they're going to shoot you. And I don't call that murder, but apparently some on the left do. You wrote a piece.
Well, you know, in fact, in the papers this morning, I'm glad you brought this up. I hadn't thought about it, but in the papers this morning, large arguments in the editorial pages about guns and gun control and the call for it. But there's a story, I think, out of Florida where, you know, a black guy, right, has a broken down car, but he has a permit to carry.
Yeah.
So he has his gun with his permit, and he's standing there in the dark of the night. And a cop comes up, but the cop is in an unmarked car, so the guy with the carry permit pulls out his gun, the cop pulls out his gun and shoots him. Now, you know, nobody thinks that's a legitimate shooting, but is it something that you're going to blame the cop for? I don't know.
No,
I mean,
that one sounds like a
wild, wild west.
That one sounds like
everybody should have a gun.
Well, I do think everybody should have a gun. And in fact,
That's
let me
what I'm
before
saying. I
we
think it's crazy.
I do want to spend a couple of minutes talking about the piece you wrote, where you think it's wrong for Republicans to ask for voter ID. Tell me why.
Well, we've been over this territory because most people agree with you. And I said it's incredible to me. Most black people, most Hispanic people agree with Lars Larson on this point.
See?
But
I'm
what
right.
happened, and I wrote about this in The Hill, so people who listen, please go to thehill.com and check it out, that in Alabama over the last few weeks, they have closed all of the motor vehicle registration driver's license offices in mostly black rural areas. And then they raised the price for getting a driver's license by 50%. And now they're starting to backpedal because of embarrassment, say, well, we're going to open it for 1 day a month. You talk about pulling back the veil, and anybody says, oh, this is just about preventing voter fraud. No, it's not. It's about suppressing the black vote.
No, it's not. It's really not.
Oh, no.
I understand why Alabama raises prices the way all governments raise prices of things, but I don't think it's specifically aimed at black voters. But, you know, when you say, you know, the cost of a driver's license is up, I don't like seeing those prices go up either. But I don't know why it's such an imposition to say, if you need picture ID to check into a hotel, and you and I both know you do, or to get on an airplane, or to cash a check, or to do virtually any kind of important transaction, why is it unreasonable to ask that somebody prove who they are before they cast a vote in an American election?
It's the basis of our democratic system. It is a constitutional right. And remember, they had to produce legitimate, confirmed, certified evidence of who they are and their address when they registered to vote. So it's not as if we're inviting that. And despite your claims, all of the research even done by very conservative organizations, cannot find evidence of widespread voter fraud fraud in this country, Lars.
That's because they're not looking for it. They really aren't. No, the various.
I just told you there are people on what you call your side of the aisle. I would say they're good Americans, and they're looking because we don't want voter fraud. We don't want the system corrupted.
Juan, look, I live in one state. I work in another state. If I didn't have a familiar face because of what I do for a living, I could go get a driver's license. I could go down and register to vote in another county. I could walk in and vote. We don't actually use poll voting out here because we use the more susceptible to fraud mail voting, which God help us if it goes to the rest of the country. But if it's poll voting can be screwed. And there's no way to detect it, because if somebody walks in and says, I'd like to get this ballot, and they do, and you know that Project Veritas has gone out, they were about to be handed Eric Holder's ballot. And they were handing it to a young white man. Eric Holder is a 50-something black man, but they were ready to hand this kid his ballot because they don't ask for any kind of ID, which means if that kid had voted Eric Holder's ballot and they videotaped the whole thing, how would anyone have detected it?
This is so laughable. You know what happens in that case, Lars?
What?
When the real Eric Holder shows up and then they investigate, your friend, who's trying to make a mockery out of democracy, would have been arrested and subjected to a felony serious
No, how would they find
charge.
him? If he pretends to be Eric Holder, how would they find him?
You know how you say you work in one state and live in another?
Yeah.
I think you're living in a state of paranoid conspiracy fantasy here, and you're saying on the basis of my conspiratorial worry about these Democrats getting people to vote, you are now trying to change the law and impact our Constitution and undermine our democracy and keep some people from voting because you don't like the way they vote.
Do you know, if I want to, no, it's not about not wanting people. I want people to vote, but I want them to vote only if they prove who they are. You can't walk in.
They have when they register.
No. You remember that about a presidential election cycle ago, they got a whole, boiler room full of people making out fake voter registrations in the state of Nevada. Now, if you make the fake registration and then somebody votes the fake registration, how do you ever detect the fake registration?
Lars, you must think that everybody besides Lars Larson is just a bumbling fool. Let me tell you something. People who run
Democrats.
as Republicans and Democrats care deeply about winning. Everybody wants to win. Everybody
except
wants
the Democrats
power.
cheat.
They're watching like eagles.
How do you watch a fake registration being voted? The only person to complain...
Because if it doesn't go back, if that address isn't real, and they are checked regularly, if the address isn't real, if there isn't someone who can accept a letter at that address, answer a phone at that address, then it's proven that it's corrupt.
I'm going to tell you something.
And then they go back and find who registered that person.
Juan, despite your great work for thehill.com, you are sadly mistaken on this one, but I always appreciate you coming on the program.
Well, I appreciate your putting up with me. I'll tell you that much.
Take care. Juan Williams with us from Fox News. You've got the Lars Larson Show.
News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Hey, can I get a sip of that?
Parents, even if your child was vaccinated against meningococcal meningitis, he or she may not be protected against meningitis B. It's an uncommon disease that can lead to death within 24 hours and can be spread by your child's typical sharing behavior. Talk to a doctor today about vaccinating with Trumenba, meningococcal group B vaccine, and learn more at protectagainstb.com.
Cool, thanks. See ya.
Trumenba is a vaccine for 10 through 25-year-olds for immunization to help prevent Group B meningococcal disease. Trumenba should not be given if you had a severe allergic reaction after a previous dose. Most common side effects were injection site pain, fatigue, headache, muscle pain, and chills. Group B vaccines should not be interchanged within a series. Tell your doctor if you're pregnant. Ask your doctor about all risks and benefits of Trumenba. The FDA-approved product labeling can be found at protectagainstb.com. See our ad in Eating Well magazine.
Call Quicken Loans now at 800-QUICKEN to see if you qualify for the government's Home Affordable Refinance Program, or HARP. And for 5 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction. And for the second year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN or visit QuickenLoans.com.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Number 3030.
And now, a touching moment. Well, staying in touch with Geico.
I remember it like it was yesterday. As I downloaded the Geico app, a bluebird landed on my finger. I said, "Hey, Mr. Bluebird, did you know you can add a car to your Geico policy with just a tap of your finger? Just scan the VIN number. It's so easy." After that, we watched the sunset together and ate birdseed. The birdseed tasted super weird, but the sunset was nice.
VIN scanning to add a car. Just a few taps away on the Geico app.
Dearest President Jefferson, when Clark and I began our expedition, we had hopes of finding bountiful land. But dear sir, I must say we've hit the jackpot. We've come across a machine that's native to Oregon called Video Lottery. It's got exciting games and enormous prizes. Dare I proclaim, we may never leave. Yours truly, Meriwether Lewis. Oregon's Video Lottery. What plays in Oregon, stays in Oregon. Lottery games are based on chance and should be played for entertainment only, not investment purposes. Odds and payouts vary by game.
Tired of long wait times and high prices at your local boat repair shop? The Boat Dock LLC Marine Repair in Springfield has the fastest turnover. With state-of-the-art test equipment and on-site test tank, the jobs are done right the first time. From simple tune-ups and water pumps to complete repowers on all types of marine power boats, the Boat Dock LLC is the shop to visit at 1252 30th Street in Springfield. A Better Business Bureau accredited business. Visit their website at eugeneboatrepair.com. That's eugeneboatrepair.com.
Football season means weekends filled with chips, dips, and the inevitable slips. There goes a plate full of nachos onto your nice beige carpet. Well, don't worry. Call Zero Res Carpet Cleaning. Zero Res is platinum rated by the Carpet and Rug Institute, proven to remove more soil and more water. Save money and save time with Zero Res Carpet Cleaning. Call Zero Res right now and ask for the KPNW special. You'll get 3 rooms cleaned for just $99. Call 9880. That's 988-ZERO, or book your appointment online at ZeroResEugene.com.
The odds of this Alaskan-born pitcher being selected to the Major League Baseball All-Star Game 6 times? 1 in 48 million. The odds of this fast-balling philanthropist winning the World Series 3 times? 1 in 3 million. The odds of this man having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 110. Hi, I'm Kurt Schilling. Learn the signs of autism at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.
Do you have 30 minutes a week to make a difference in the life of a Eugene middle school student? Middle school can be challenging. Some students feel isolated. Many students come from low-income families, making it harder to fit in at school. You can make a difference. Be a part of the Eugene Middle School Lunchtime Mentor Program this school year. Visit 4j.lane.edu/volunteers for more information. Kids are waiting.
News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Welcome back to the Lars Larson Show. One thing I want to remind you of, I know that a lot of you are small business owners like I am. Well, Vistaprint is great for small business owners. Believe me, I use them. They offer tons of custom products for your home and office needs. They have business cards, they have postcards, flyers, banners. They've got apparel and invitations. They have it all. They can even make custom T-shirts for your company. And if you want to make some special business cards, just to make sure that your business has that classy look, you can customize the text and the color and the backside of the business card. You can do it all. You can upload your logo to Vistaprint's designs, or you could upload your own design. That's all you have to do. I love Vistaprint, and I want you to try them too. Vistaprint has a special offer just for listeners to my show. If you use my name, Lars, at Vistaprint.com, 500 business cards are yours, starting at just $9.99. That's a 50% savings over the regular site pricing. It's a fantastic deal, and they have tons of layouts and design options, so even if you're thinking you're not the artistic type, and believe me, I'm not, they can make a fantastic business card for you and your business. The quality is great, they're easy to customize, and you can't beat the price. To redeem this offer, and get 500 custom business cards for $9.99. Go to Vistaprint.com, V-I-S-T-A, Vistaprint.com. Create and design your own custom business cards, and then when you check out, use my name, Lars, L-A-R-S. It's an exciting offer for a great product, so don't wait. Go to Vistaprint.com and order today. To your calls now at 866-439-5277. Emails go to talk@larslarson.com. Let's go first to Rick in Georgia. Hey, Rick, welcome to the program. What's on your mind?
Thank you, Lars. You know, I was listening to Juan, and he's a pretty astute guy, but he said voting is a constitutional right, and it needs to be, I guess, you know, his implication was need to be protected, but he didn't mention that it's a constitutional right only for citizens.
That's right. Only for citizens and only for those who've met the qualifications. And if identification is one of the qualifications, frankly, Rick, every time somebody says it's a way to lock people of color out of voting, I just think that's ridiculous. Because I'm sure that somewhere in America there are a very small number of people who are able to live their life without picture ID. But imagine what that would take. Let's say you're somebody who's no longer working a job, so you don't have to cash a paycheck, and you don't have a bank account, because to get a bank account for the last 20 years or so or better, you've had to have picture ID, but you only get a Social Security check. Well, where and how do you cash that Social Security check without picture ID? And if you say, well, you have it go into your bank account, you say, well, you can't get a bank account without picture ID. And there are a lot of other things you can't do that most of us do, like get on airplanes or check into a hotel. I'll be traveling in a couple of nights. I'll have to use, I know when I check in, they're going to say, we want to see some picture ID. Even if you offer to pay for the room with cash, they want picture ID. So the only person who could do it would be somebody who is retired, not on Social Security, never does any banking, maybe lives with a family member, and somebody else makes all of their purchases. They don't drive a car. They never go to a bank. It would be such an odd situation to be in, to be able to go through your life without any form of picture ID. And if you get the picture ID for other purposes, like cashing checks and setting up bank accounts and checking into hotels, then you already have the ID. So what's the harm in asking for that ID when somebody votes? Thanks for the call. Let's go to James in Alabama, listening on WDBT. Hey, James, welcome to the program. What's on your mind?
Hey, Lars. I just want to call in and just do correct the record with what Juan Williams was saying about what was happening in Alabama with our satellite motor vehicle officer.
Yeah.
Typical spin. I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but, you know, our state is one of the few states that has a balanced budget amendment or policy where you got, you know, governor has to have a balanced budget going forward. And so they went back and started looking at, hey, we're overspent. We've got to figure out some way to save money. And one of the things they looked at was we have all these small satellite driver's license offices that are being manned, but they're not getting used. And so it's just one of those cost dollar what makes sense? Do we keep an office and staff this, you know, at an outrageous cost, or do we have people go get their licenses somewhere else, close these things down, save some money for the state?
Right.
And what the state has done when some of the legislators objected is the state is putting together 2 mobile vans that will go out and produce those voter ID cards or driver's licenses for anybody who says they can't get to an Alabama office.
So all you have to do is, if I understand it from a distance, because I've read a little bit about this, if you live in one of the far-flung counties in a rural area where there wasn't that much business to keep an office open full-time, you just have to know that once or twice a month, the van is going to show up at a popular place, maybe a public park or a parking lot somewhere, and you can go get your DMV stuff done there, and then the van goes on to the next county. Is that the way it works?
Lars, is even easier than that.
Really?
You call up, you schedule an appointment.
You do? So they come to you?
Yes, sir.
A government service that's actually done efficiently and for the convenience of the people being served?
And that way no one can scream, I can't vote, You guys are denying me of my right to vote because I can't get a photographic ID.
That is a fantastic idea. I think there are a lot of other. In fact, you know that I'm one of those guys who wants to go out and be kind of tough on post offices too. I mean, I've run into a few of those where the post office is in such a small community that the reason they keep it open is people like to go down and stand around the post office and visit. And half the time they're located in another kind of business, and you walk in to visit your postal box or whatever.
Mark. You're going to open up a can of worms. We're in one of the small towns that's divided by 2 different post offices, and we've been fighting just to get our own zip code. We don't want our own post office. We want our own zip code.
Oh, my goodness. James, thanks very much. I appreciate the call. Let's go to Steve. Hey, Steve, welcome to the program. What's on your mind?
Good evening, Lars. Well, I don't know how long you've been a resident of the state of Washington. Do you remember when Dino Rossi made his first run for the gubernatorial?
I sure did, and I was on his side. I voted for him the first time. I voted for him the second time in the second election. Of course, the Democrats allowed all kinds of votes from a lot of other places as well.
Well, they did 3 recounts, and he won the first 2, and all of a sudden they found a box of ballots in a closet somewhere that they neglected to count the first time, and then she ended up winning again.
That's right, and I remember that happening. I think the Democrats should have a bumper sticker. Chicago is nothing compared to what Washington State did. The bumper sticker should have read, Democrats, count till you win.
I mean, that's what it is. They do whatever they can do, however they can do it, whenever they can do it to win. It doesn't matter. They're the most dishonest people, and I know a lot of them, and I deal with them every single day.
And I'll tell you something. I appreciate the call, by the way. They found out in the trial that was held after that first fraudulent election in Washington State, this now goes back better than 10 years, they found out that there were people who voted who were dead, just like in Chicago. There were people who voted who were registered in 2 different places. There were people registered to vote who actually lived in a different state. And at the end of the trial, the judge said, well, you can't prove those are the votes that elected her, so the Democrat wins and Dino Rossi loses. You've got the Lars Larson Show.
The Lars Larson Show.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. On a percentage basis, stocks ended barely changed. The Dow Jones Industrials lost 24 points and closed at 17,623. The Nasdaq closed 3 points higher. The S&P 500 lost 4 points. Most business economists think the economy will grow at a modest pace for the rest of the year. A survey by the National Association for Business Economics suggests jobs could become harder to find over the next 3 months. The percentage of respondents who think their firms will be hiring in the fourth quarter has fallen to a new low for the year. There is a new report on the importance of Japanese automakers to the U.S. economy. A Rutgers University economics professor estimates Japanese car companies, factories, R&D centers, and dealer networks support more than 1.5 million American jobs. Toyota sold more vehicles worldwide than any other automaker in the first 9 months of the year. Volkswagen was a close second, followed by General Motors. Jeff Bellinger, Bloomberg Radio.
Most car commercials say, hurry, the savings end soon. But the savings at your Northwest Toyota dealer are just the beginning. You'll get lower payments, all the latest features, plus 2 years of Toyota Care no-cost service. Savings don't end soon. At your Northwest Toyota dealer.
Visit your Northwest Toyota dealer today for great deals on a huge selection of Toyota models.
Toyota. Let's go places. Covers normal factory scheduled service for 2 years or 25,000 miles, whichever comes first. See Toyota dealer for details and exclusions. Valid only in the continental United States and Alaska.
ALS is a tough disease to fight. Relentlessly progressive. We have no therapy for it. And virtually everyone who gets the disease ultimately succumbs to it. How do we stop this? How do we break through ALS? The ALS Therapy Alliance has been instrumental in discovery and treatment. The issue is being willing to take risks where we think there's a very high payback. We are a team of fighters. Randy is a fighter. Help us break through ALS. Thank you.
Depend on us for breaking news from the local neighborhood to the global one. We are News Radio 1120 KPNW, Eugene, Springfield.
Fox News Radio, I'm Jane Metzler. The U.S. sending a Navy ship to within 12 miles of some man-made islands in disputed waters in the South China Sea, should the Obama administration decide to intervene militarily.
The USS Lassen, a Navy destroyer, is the closest American warship in position to carry out the operation, which sources say could be ordered within 24 hours. Senior Pentagon officials were angered by the leak. The Spratly Islands are artificial islands that China has been building up, adding miles of shoreline and laying down what look like military runways. President Obama met with the Indonesian president at the White House to discuss the effort to defeat ISIS and concerns about Chinese aggression in the South China Sea. Defense Secretary Ash Carter and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Joe Dunford, leave for Asia on Friday.
Fox's Jennifer Griffin. President Obama travels to Turkey, the Philippines, and Malaysia next month for several summits. The G20 is in Turkey. The APEC summit is in the Philippines. 2 other Asian summits in Malaysia. More than 260 people dead after a 7.5 magnitude earthquake rocked Pakistan and Afghanistan. The shaking also felt in India. White House spokesman Josh Earnest.
We stand ready to provide any additional support that may be needed.
Most of the dead in Pakistan, where leaders say they don't need any outside help. Could avoid a government shutdown. An agreement on a federal budget said to be close.
It would likely fund the government until next October. It would also address a massive Medicare premium hike set to take effect next year. And it would adjust automatic cuts to both defense and domestic programs.
Fox's Mike Emanuel. Extending the debt ceiling also being discussed. The deadline for an agreement 1 week from tomorrow. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Oak Grove Guns wants all hunters to be safe this season, so here's some basic rules. Number 1, don't shoot each other. It seems so simple, but when you're on the trail tracking your animal, make sure your shot is clear and that your target is not your buddy. Wear the proper gear. Don't climb down from the blind or stand with a loaded firearm. Pay attention and use common sense. Oak Grove Guns is proud to once again be an Ed Brown dealer offering some of the finest handcrafted custom 1911s made. Oak Grove Guns, proud to supply guns to responsible gun owners.
You know the story of Hansel and Gretel, where Hansel left breadcrumbs on the trail so they could find their way back home? That's what you do when you use public Wi-Fi, or shop online, or give out your social security number at your doctor's office or the bank. You leave breadcrumbs on the trail for someone to possibly steal your identity and take everything you own. At LifeLock, we use proprietary technology to detect signs that someone has picked up your breadcrumbs to take what's yours. And unlike free credit monitoring services that only alert you, we have a dedicated resolution staff to help clean things up if all those breadcrumbs get messy. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses. But with LifeLock, you can keep doing the things you do every day and feel better protected. Isn't it time to help protect yourself from someone eating your financial lunch? Plans start at $9.99 a month. Right now, you can get 10% off. Go to LifeLock.com and enter promo code NEWS.
The most accurate forecast now on News Radio 1120. KPNW.
Weather brought to you by Pacific Air Comfort, your local factory authorized carrier dealer, keeping your home comfortable all year long. Turn to the experts at PacificAirComfort.com. Some patchy fog and about 43 tonight. Patchy morning fog, then partly sunny and 63 on Tuesday. Look for clouds, rain, and 50 Tuesday night. Rainy and 62 on Wednesday. Showers and 62 for Thursday. Partly sunny with a chance of rain and 60 on Friday. Football season means weekends filled with chips, dips, and the inevitable slips. There goes a plate full of nachos onto your nice beige carpet. Well, don't worry. Call Zero Res Carpet Cleaning. Zero Res is platinum rated by the Carpet and Rug Institute, proven to remove more soil and more water. Save money and save time with Zero Res Carpet Cleaning. Call Zero Res right now and ask for the KPNW special. You'll get 3 rooms cleaned for just $99. Call 9880. That's 988-ZERO, or book your appointment online at ZeroResEugene.com.
This is a referral service. Calls will be routed to an independent referral insurance agency.
Do you know the #1 cause of bankruptcy? No, it's not losing your job or running up credit card debt. It's not even divorce. It's medical costs. If you and your family don't have health insurance, just one serious illness or accident could be financially devastating. But now there's good news, really good news. A health insurance hotline has been established to provide health insurance for all Americans, even uninsured Americans with pre-existing conditions. Now anyone can get health insurance even if you have a pre-existing medical condition. I repeat, now anyone can get health insurance coverage. Call now for a free no-obligation quote on affordable health plans available to you. Again, this is a free hotline for anyone, even if you have pre-existing conditions. Protect you and your family from sudden unexpected medical costs. Call the free health insurance hotline right now at 1-800-841-0007. That's 1-800-841-0007. Call 1-800-841-0007.
Need a hot tub? Go to OregonEdeals.com and save big. Need your transmission flushed? Go to OregonEdeals.com and save big. Need pizza? Go to OregonEdeals.com and save big. You hearing a theme here? Check out today's discounts at OregonEdeals.com.
Kendall Auto Group presents the Kendall License Plate Days. They want to give you $50 and match that by donating $50 to local education foundations at the same time. All you have to do is tune in weekdays to KPNW or visit our Facebook page to find out where we'll be in the Eugene area looking for vehicles with Kendall license plate frames. If you're one of the lucky ones spotted, you'll be the winner of a $50 Visa card. Don't have a Kendall license plate frame? No problem. Stop by any Kendall dealership and they'll gladly switch yours out. The Kendall License Plate Days, where it pays to drive Kendall. Kendall, let's start something great.
When you clean out your garage or storage shed, there's a good chance you'll find some hazardous products to dispose of. Paint, pesticides, solvents, and fuels are items you may want to get rid of. They need special handling and disposal. Fortunately, Lane County residents have access to convenient and free hazardous waste disposal services. To make an appointment for disposal or to get more information, just call 682-4120. This message is sponsored by Lane County Public Works in association with Eugene area radio stations. Ears.
There's a lot of things out there that we don't understand. It doesn't mean that they don't exist. And that's why I just love your program.
Kind of a messy job. Hey, somebody's got to do it, right? I'm George Norrie.
George Norrie on News Radio 1120 KPNW. News, information 24/7 on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
More than 7.7 million American teenagers participate in high school sports every year, including about 101,000 here in Oregon. They're all learning essential life lessons, like the importance of hard work, time management, and self-discipline, skills that are helping them become better leaders and more active, responsible citizens. This message presented by the Oregon School Activities Association and the Oregon Athletic Directors Association.
Is a candidate for presidency with the Transhumanist Party, a party that he created. So we're going to talk to him about his goals for transhumanism, what he thinks that's about. Should be an interesting interview. He's going to be here live in the studio, third hour. Before we get to that, I want to talk about the out-of-control use of technology by our government. Now, of course, we learned last week, at the end of the week, that the Department of Justice was not going to target Lois Lerner. Maybe it's because they think that she's related to a girlfriend of Superman. I don't know. But it looks like she's got more powerful friends than Superman. She's got powerful people in the government. And we were told at the time that, you know, it was just bureaucratic incompetence. Well, if it was bureaucratic incompetence, it would affect groups equally across the political spectrum. This was targeted on conservative groups, on Tea Party groups. And now we learn that they are still targeting Tea Party groups. This isn't something that has gone on, that has stopped. The Washington Times reports that the IRS is still holding up the nonprofit applications for Tea Party groups, including one that has been waiting nearly 6 years for approval. As I say, it's no wonder so many Americans have had it with Washington and the elite political class who can get away with something like this, says Mark Meckler, president of the Citizens for Self-Governance, one of the organizers of the class action lawsuit. Yet another case is pending before a federal appeals court after Tea Party challengers lost at the district court level, where the judge ruled that the IRS targeting stopped in 2000. Controlled government is always either at your feet or at your throat. Let me ask you, do you think it's at your feet? No, it's not. So where are they going next with this? Well, the next thing that they're doing is greasing the skids, giving themselves some legal cover, saying that they're going to pass CISA. This is something that they've tried for multiple times. They called it CISPA. And now it is called CISA, and they're getting it through. Nothing has really changed except dropping the P for protection. This is the Cybersecurity Information Sharing Act. It used to be the Cybersecurity Information Sharing Protection Act. And I guess maybe people said, well, who's getting protected by this? Because this isn't something that is increasing the protection of individuals. You're spying on us. You're collecting our information. It's like, oh, well, it's there. The P is there to protect companies from being sued by you when they violate your privacy. You know, that other P word that they don't like. That P word that's getting banned by the government. This has now been passed by the Senate. They just need to reconcile it with the House. Obama has indicated that he will sign it. Of course he will. He will not shy away from any kind of surveillance. He said we would have the most transparent administration we had ever seen. That's what Obama told everybody. Little did you realize that the transparency was going to be on you, not on him. Everything they do is a secret. We have a state religion of national security. Everything is sacrificed to it. Your privacy, the rule of law, the Bill of Rights, the Constitution. But they will not tell you anything about what they're doing. We've had this trade agreement. I think that was now 3 weeks ago. They announced that they had come up with this agreement. We were told for a very long time that the corporations and the corporate lobbyists who are working on this trade partnership, quote unquote, it's a treaty. We were told that they couldn't tell us about this because that would just scotch the whole deal. You know, you can't go public as this thing is being negotiated. We'll let you know once it's negotiated. Well, here we are, 3 weeks later, maybe 4. I don't know the exact date, but it's been at least 3 weeks. We still don't have any information from our corporate masters as to what they're about to do. We do know that it's going to be far more than free trade. It is going to reorganize copyright. It's going to reorganize national sovereignty. It is going to elevate corporations to the level of government, which, of course, they are, aren't they? If they can tell our congressmen and senators that they cannot talk about what's going on with this agreement because they have to sign a non-disclosure agreement, there's that non-disclosure agreement again, right? NDAs all over the place because we're operating in a corporate environment now. We don't have a government anymore. We have a multinational corporations are running this government, so they deal on non-disclosure agreements, and everything that they do is secret. They say although CISA is branded a cybersecurity bill, this is from InfoWorld, and of course this is a tech organization. This is not a political organization. This is a technical organization, InfoWorld. They say although CISA is branded a cybersecurity bill, it does nothing to actually improve the effectiveness of security systems. This is people who understand computers telling you this. It's concerned instead with increasing the amount of information that corporations share with government and protecting those companies from liability for violating a customer's privacy. Yeah, again, like I said, it's going to legitimize it, but it will also put pressure on some of the companies that have been reluctant to turn this over, saying we would experience legal issues. We would be sued by customers if they do this because they didn't want to turn that information over. They didn't want to violate your privacy. Now the government, it was reintroduced in 2013. It was failed again. Last year, any mention of protection was stripped out, and they have now pushed this thing through. And of course, Aaron Schwartz worked very hard to defeat that. I would say that he gave his life to defeat that. I don't believe that he killed himself in desperation. That's the official narrative from the government. People who knew him said they were absolutely blindsided by this. How many times do we have to have someone that the government tells us committed suicide in prison or whatever? How many times does that have to happen? And they're all saying, hey, I'm fine. I'm fighting this to the end, blah, blah, blah. And everybody that they know says they were well-adjusted, they were a fighter, they were going after this, and then all of a sudden they commit suicide. You know, like Gary Webb or the D.C. Madam or so many different people that we've talked to. And, of course, Aaron Schwartz was a fighter. He picked this fight with them. He wasn't shying away from this. And although you had a prosecutor, interestingly enough, the same prosecutor, Carmen Ortiz, who was involved in the subsequent Boston bombing false flag, even though Carmen Ortiz was pushing him and publicly saying that they were going to try to put him in prison for 35 years. The charges had been dropped by the university. The charges had been dropped at the local level. They said that's not anything. He had removed some data. It wasn't any kind of a cyber hack or anything, but the feds came in and tried to make an issue out of it. And she got a lot of pushback because she was trying to prosecute him. Her husband tweeted and said, don't push back on Carmen. She offered him a 3-month plea bargain, and he turned it down. That tweet was subsequently deleted.